Hi, it's Ileana at Awakening Cosmic Reality Show, and I have Jenny Lee with me today. We are going to be doing channeling with Source Creator Spirit about the question of the Anunnaki Aya bloodline, Enki, and what's going on there. Welcome, Jenny.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Busy. It's been a busy week. You know, I don't think anybody's resting these days.
Yeah, it's so busy. Exactly. So we're going to get into the purpose of this show is to seek clarity for greater discernment for all concerned. I have received many questions from my subscribers regarding Enki, the Aya bloodline, and the Anunnaki. So Jenny Lee, who is you, has kindly agreed to do the channeling, and she's been a guest on my show before. So welcome, Jenny. Nice to see you again.
This should be interesting because I wanted to just go into the raw information on how spirit sees it. Sometimes when you go get opinions of what people think about it, it'll cloud your mind in left brain, and I don't want that. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna go raw on this completely.
Yeah. And I thought it would be useful for the two of us to hear answers from Jenny live, for everybody, the audience and me channeling, because Jenny is able to channel Source Creator to connect directly, or Spirit, as Jenny calls Source Creator. And so that is who the audience's questions will be addressed to regarding Enki Ea. So Jenny is a high-level multidimensional seer and medium starting at the age of 3. She's able to hear, see, know, feel, and resonate, and remote view with great accuracy, and has also an act of service. She's assisted in finding lost family members successfully. In other words, Jenny has a good proven track record, and Jenny likes to back things up with evidence. We
Yes.
always do that. So please know that Enki purports to be the father creator of humanity. So in this case, to be fair, he is not talking about the creator of our souls, but rather the creator of these bodies that have evolved into Homo sapiens sapien, which the Anunnaki came to Earth 450,000 years ago to basically genetically alter the primates to create what we are today, the Homo sapiens. So the first question that we're going to do is, again, Jenny, welcome, and please tell our audience a little about the beings you channel and how you can tell that is the real Source Creator communicating with you instead of some clever imposter. How can someone really know that they are channeling or communicating with Source Creator and not an AI system that is sending them false information? How does one tell the difference?
Well, the first thing that I do before I open that door is I identify. And anything can come in and act like it's something. So if you don't go in and identify that before that connection is, it can act like Enki, it can act like anything it wants to act like. And just completely act like the person that you know that passed on, anything. So the identification, which is an energy that checks with that right away to make sure that's a solid connection, and the identification of that energy is the true one. So I don't open up doors unless 100% I know it's the right door. I just don't pick up anything that comes by.
Mm-hmm. So you create a direct line to the essence of the being that you're going to channel, and you verify and check that it's Source Creator, Spirit, how you call it, and that it's the right being and not a trickster being. So that's how you identify whether it's Source or not.
Right, right. So, and that can get you in trouble. I mean, and I've seen a lot of people get in trouble by that. They just assume they're talking to the person or the energy or the frequency, and they're not checking it. And that is the number one bad thing to do, is not to check the energy and to identify it before you open the door or allow it near you.
Mm-hmm. And you will know by the frequency. If something is off and it doesn't feel right, it's most likely not the being that you're supposed to channel.
Right. And even when you are talking to the being that you want to channel, sometimes the other ones will try to persist and move in. And at that point of being stern and in control of the situation, and definitely from the gut in the middle of you is saying no and meaning no. So it doesn't mess with that channel that you have, because it would like for you to be confused about it.
Mm-hmm.
It would love that.
Yeah, makes sense. So, and how do you also know if there's an AI system that's trying to interfere and send false information? How does that feel?
Because when I feel that, that has a different weight to it. It presents on to me, especially it's not such a high frequency, it is a lower frequency. It feels manufactured, it feels pushed in, and I don't allow any of those. I'm like, I can feel it, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And so because I also see it flash, and it's like trying to switch identifications in a mirror situation, and I'm like, nope, nope, I know what that is, because its balance is not solid and consistent. It's trying to switch through to see what she'll take, and it doesn't work with me. I'm like, nope. So and then, I don't have a lot of those problems, because at the beginning, all those try to see how they can enter, and they have figured out there's not a way to enter. And then they're like, it's not worth our investment, it's not worth our time, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, and it may feel like a signal. It may feel like a signal polarity frequency that is so different from the live beings.
Right. And it's annoying too. I would say the perception on it is annoying.
Mm-hmm. Makes
So,
sense. Yeah. Okay. So we'll now go directly to the channeling with Source Creator and the 30 questions. Do you need some time to connect to Source, or how does it work for you? Okay.
that's the question.
Oh, okay. So as a geneticist early on, some history books tell us that Enki, a geneticist, experimented creating half animal, half humans that had a very difficult time surviving, abominations, as we would call them, and eventually they all had to be killed. Is that accurate?
They're like taking it and splitting, like dicing in the middle of it. So they say it started to that point, and then it dissolved and went down a different direction. So, like you attempt to do something and it didn't work out. It didn't turn into a situation that was good. So it's like a science project that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
So it was attempted, but the strength behind it and how it was created did not function correctly.
So
That's
did
what
did they have a lot of animals wandering around, like human half animals, and they were breaking down and they were not functioning correctly? Is that
so
sort of?
they're showing me going inside, I would say, the flesh and the bone process of doing that. And how do I explain to you that when you start this project, you think things are going to be created in a smooth way. And so it's almost like they're showing parts of different DNA did not mix well together. And there at some point it was going to sabotage itself. Like, it's kind of like that Mother Nature thing. When you push something, it doesn't not supposed to come together. And then it starts to surface and show you that on top of the surface of the skin. That's what they're kind of showing me. So major malfunction. And it's how, man in this universe, when you try to play God and you get your hand smacked very hard, that's what they're kind of showing me. It did not go in a good way.
Yeah, like genetic breakdowns, falling apart,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
not not holding well together.
No. No. It's almost like the illusion of this is a great idea, we'll put it together, and then when it comes down to it, another force coming in going, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you will understand at the end of this the reality of what will come at the end result for doing it.
Yeah.
And I think he's learned that.
Yeah, because they had to clean that up. All of the abominations that failed, they had to take them off planet. They had to clear them of the mutations, genetic mutations, remove the animal body stuff, like literally disassemble that project and clean it up so it wouldn't wander on the earth and basically affect other genetic projects of humans going on at that time. Would you say that is correct?
I would say that's correct, and I would say there's a repercussion at that time for doing that.
What was the repercussion?
It's some turning on the makers, in the way of thinking they can control it and contain it, and you can't control and contain it. And then anything with an energy where you try to contain their spirit, especially when you make something that's on a negative process and trying to make it your pet or your project, in the long run, nature has a way of really showing you that reality that you're not in control of this, and this will backfire in front of you for doing it.
Yeah, I'm getting the impression these abominations, half animal, half human, escaped some of them, and they were causing havoc on the earth at that time, and they had to be collected, rounded up, cleaned up, the souls separated from those bodies. Some of those bodies put in stasis on the motherships above the earth, and like it took a couple of thousand years to clean that up and take it all apart so it wouldn't be abomination anymore.
Right, and there's always residue left for that type of situation. And I think nowadays, if they tried that, they would basically only be able to enter into a vessel that allows them to be in the vessel. I think that would be the only power source it could have right now.
Mm-hmm. Another question, around 450,000 years ago, when the Anunnaki came to this planet to mine gold and needed workers to mine for them, did Enki ever do cloning of humans on Earth?
This is the thing I have to tell you, I get with him. I don't, and first thing I asked Spirit about him, they're like, not even putting him in this high level of understanding, not a presence that was intelligent, a presence that was confusing and making deals. So it was very discredited. So I don't find this being had a lot of credibility with other beings. But did not trust across the board.
Mm-hmm. But did they do any cloning? Did Enki ever do any cloning of humans on Earth?
I think there was an attempt, and that's where we talked about how seeing it not work to his advantage and feeling it dismantled and creating something that he probably didn't want to be a part of, or what would not want people to see or energy to see, because it is a dysfunctional process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm picking up failure, secret experiments with cloning, but very limited and very failed experiments.
Right. Not a positive aspect. It's almost like someone claiming that they're a scientist and they're not. And it goes completely wrong in the wrong direction fast.
Yeah. Other question, the Book of Enki purports that Enki had supposedly violated interplanetary law when he created the Adamite Adamic slaves and Adaptite super soldiers. Is that true? And did he do that? Was it against galactic law to create Adamic slaves and the reptilian Agigi workers on Earth to mine gold?
I believe that is true. And it, like another thing that did not work out to his advantage, because when I get the presence of that is a very sneaky and conniving energy and self-worth type of being. So I don't think this being doesn't know the word no, and I'm going to push it as far as I can push it. And that's why I'm feeling the presence of it doesn't, any other being doesn't have respect for it, and it's just feel like, get that energy away from me, because it's done nothing to this universe and help this world. All it's good at doing is manipulating and sensing weakness, and wherever it can manipulate, it's going to.
So basically, Enki did create the Adamic slaves, the Adaptite super soldiers, the Adamic slaves, and the reptilian Gigi workers.
Right. For his own benefit, for his own ego. And that's where I see that's all a lot of what he is. And I feel since early on in his existence of always competing and trying to feel like he was a god, a good god too.
So, and sorry, I interrupted you.
Sorry, it doesn't pass the bullshit lie. It's just a con. He's, your outer aspects of this universe, and he's just that new con that's out there that he can do anything he wants and manipulate the situation. And there's no, he feels there's no repercussions for it.
And did these various slaves mine for the gold?
I feel at times they did, but not to the caliber that he wanted. Because they're showing me the body. When you're here on this planet, the body breaks down different. Everything is. So I guess they weren't as strong as they were somewhere else, and that did not help his process of doing things. And I feel eyes looking down and saying, God, this is going to be a disaster. This is not going to look well in the future for, the free will of not allowing it to happen where they're at, but seeing how it is happening here. So, and I can't imagine being one of those beings and having to do that, because I don't think there's any empathy or sympathy towards these beings that had to do it.
What galactic council or group made that galactic law where it was violating interplanetary law? Was it Source Creator itself? Are the Anunnaki required to obey galactic law? What are the consequences if a species disobeys galactic law?
Okay, so how do I explain this? So some of his own kind did not agree what he did. So it's like speaking of a soul that's doing the wrong thing and then coming together with another council and saying this is a situation we need to dismantle and be rid of the situation before it gets worse. So I believe some of his own peers decided that was a route they didn't want to go, and they went up to a higher council. So I would definitely, I wouldn't say quite the over creators, but something a little bit below that, that made that decision in our territory of outer space that we have, and they had to do something about it.
Did they cause the various floods that try to remove these reptilian Agigi Adamic slaves and the Adaptite, like to literally destroy them and erase them from the historic record with flooding the Earth?
So Showing me as in trying to change the atmosphere to see if that would, I think there were several different types of attempts to dismantle it. And at the end result, they had to do something more severe.
Like the flooding?
It feels that way because they're showing me some of these creatures were pretty big. And how do you explain? It's like half reptilian and half human looking. And so just going through and sabotaging and looking at things as a predator and what it would do to nature. So they're saying we wouldn't be able to be in our world today if that continued.
Mm-hmm.
Your animals would not be here. Your certain beings would not be here at all.
Mm. So based on galactic law, Enki was not supposed to genetically experiment with evolving primate beings on living planets like Earth. Is that true?
Can you repeat that again?
Sure. So based on galactic law, Enki was not supposed to genetically experiment with evolving primate beings on living planets like Earth. Is that true?
Yes, he was not supposed to, but he did it upon himself and did not get anybody's approval for that.
Mm. Enki states he is the creator of the humans. Were there any other creators that were involved in that as well?
So how do I explain this to you? So I don't believe, and I've heard that he is the creator of them, and he's like, and Spirit's like, no, that did not happen. He was not the one that created the humans. And how do I explain that? And then, like they said, go back to what we talked about. He doesn't have the mind to do that. He has the mind to mess things up, do things the right way. For the humans, it was created in a very meticulous, just a great balance, they're saying. And his human, what you call him, he said that they would look more dysfunctional, they would have been off this earth by now. So basically it's a masterpiece, the way humans were formed and what they can do, and there's no way he would have it in his mindset and his capability to do that.
So which ET species or creator beings created the humans, seeded or made the evolving caveman primates on Earth before Enki genetically modified them into Adamic humans who were part of the Garden of Eden, being the first humanoid beings to be created on Earth?
So this thing, how the way I want to describe this is like when I guess everybody wants to think that it's a physical being that did it. And to make balance in the universe on both sides, they're showing me, and that this had to be like a combustion situation. Now, nature has its way of forming things, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so this was not something that a species could take credit for in that way. And that's the way I want to describe it, because I'm trying to lay that with that, and it's not going that direction. So they're showing me it going up, and like a happenstance situation that was created from that combustion. Just like having different animals and everything. And I believe the creator kind of made it a little better.
Okay.
Settled it down and corrected it.
Mm-hmm. Did Enki make humans by having surrogate Aryan females carry ape eggs by insemination and via male Aryan's sperm, which gave birth to humans? Were these the original 9 mothers of the humans and the Titans, or were the humans created in another way by Enki? And if so, how did Enki create humans?
So I'm looking at energy. It's literally like they're showing me forcing something together because you want this to work. So I do feel I would tell you in a very negative presence, they say, in a negative way, and putting something together, forcing something together. So can you repeat the question? Because they're saying have her repeat it, and then I can tell you.
Yes. Did Enki make humans by having surrogate Aryan females carry ape eggs by insemination and via male Aryan sperm, which gave birth to humans? Were these the original 9 mothers of the humans and the Titans, or were the humans created in another way by Enki? And if so, how did Enki create humans?
So again, I do not believe Enki created humans. So that's a scenario one way or another. And they're like, Jen, neither one of these is true. Again, he would have preferred it be him. And if he would have used humans as an incubator. And he wouldn't have cared what he put in them at all. And you would have seen the result in this time and day. So no.
So yeah, he did not use Aryan females to carry ape eggs by insemination via male Aryan sperm. That's not a truth.
Yeah.
Because that floats around a lot as a possibility. And so I thought I would put that in to see truth or not.
Right. And they're just like, nope.
Okay. Yeah, and if it was to happen, it wouldn't be compatible, let's just say. If it had happened that way, it's not compatible because you don't take a higher species and a lower species and try to blend it through insemination, correct?
Yeah, that would be like a humanoid. But yeah, no, it wouldn't work out.
Okay. Is Enki considered an immortal?
Parasite. That's the way they described him, and just when hearing the name is more of an insult to talk about him, like being blackballed, and not credible.
But is this being immortal? Can it extend its life force, die, then be resurrected, come back?
What I feel is it feels trapped. When I get him feeling like the same way as the fallen angels. You are stuck to a certain realm. You are stuck here, and causing chaos is the only thing that you can do. And then allowing himself to lead certain people, if he's allowed in them, to create havoc. So a very blob negative energy comes with that. And so just like fallen angels, they came down to cause havoc and to see if they can have both worlds. And so I just don't feel him in that way of, you're thinking like filling a soul. I feel more of a parasite.
Parasitic, yeah. Long-lived, mischievous, jumping around from body to body, energy to energy, shape-shifting, changing form, like able to change form quite a bit, correct?
Right. So I've seen them in several, ones with, a goat, and then this is a picture I got of a milder goat-looking process, and then easily able to, if he can manipulate a human and play an alter role, he'll do that too, as long as you allow them in. But if you're seeking acknowledgement or seeking to have power, this would be the perfect opportunity for him to enter.
What abilities does Enki have as an immortal? Can he jump into other people's bodies, do soul swapping, and shapeshift as well?
As long as you don't identify him by his name. Because as soon as you identify him by his name, he's going to shift out. because that is the whole thing. They lose their power as soon as you're able to identify by habits, routine, even blundering, channeling, that kind of stuff, drinking habits, drugs, all kinds of stuff. I mean, they use those flesh needs because that was the thing that called them here to, and the ego. You know, I believe I heard that he's really big on the ego. So he would definitely want to go into an ego vessel that would be able to act like it's them. So it wouldn't be able to tell the difference because you're looking at the same ego balance.
And he can look different. He can look as a
Right.
beautiful God type, human type, to infatuate you, to give you a spell, to put a spell on you.
Right. And the thing about that, as a medium and as a seer, I see through flesh first, you know, and that's what I mean is you see the soul first. And I mean, and it's like you would see it if you were seeing it with, you know, amazing ability, you would see it go back and forth trying to identify in and out, you know, what bait are you going to take of my identification, because it's going to play that role for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Was there any time as a geneticist that Enki dehanced our genetics? And if so, why? Like going backwards instead of forwards?
They're like, nope, he didn't have the, nope, it wouldn't be him.
Okay, so he couldn't deregulate our genetics backwards.
No, not him.
Couldn't interfere with evolution where we were growing as a species.
Right.
Okay.
So no, it was not his potential.
Mm-hmm. Why does Enki require his title to be referred to as Lord or Father Creator? Isn't Source Creator our Father, Mother, or at least soul-wise?
So this is the thing. When I hear the word Enki created, I go, what's inside of you, that pure, I call it the diamond, that's created and goes right to source, Enki does not have. If he did, he wouldn't be the parasite that he is today if he had that. And so he doesn't. And so that strong sense of human intuitive side, the energy, the frequency, and I call it the diamond, that we're all connected to source and our higher self, he does not have that. And so, it's just those, you know, you're either envying not having a soul or envying not having that connection to source. Mm-hmm. Like banished, like you don't exist. So I would say higher source would be like non-existence to me. So it's almost like seeing a fallen angel tie to the earth and know pushing a rock up a hill of darkness that it's never going to end. The misery of it will never end. So, and that's the thing about it. And I think every time some energy or some higher source thinks it's like Satan, better than the ultimate prime, there's always a lesson to learn out of how that story is told or how it's unraveled, of source just saying, no, you're done, you're banished, you're done, you're dismantled. So, and I always thought in my eyes, in my mind, I thought to myself, Satan, I wonder if everything could be reversed, would he have done the same thing now these days? I don't think so, because it's paid a big price.
Yeah. So Lord and Father Creator, that's just like a title that he just prefers to be called by, correct?
It is, but it's an ego title.
Mm-hmm. And was Enki ever cursed for what he did on Earth with creating slaves out of the Adamic man? And
I call it being completely shunned, turning your back, not acknowledging anything of him. I would completely call you know, what they do in the military. They turn you back. And that's what I feel. It's not giving him that title is probably the worst thing for him.
Okay. What are the genetics inside Enki at this time? Example, Anunnaki and Draco or anything else? Was Enki and the Aya bloodline originally bred having Draco DNA as part of the Anunnaki and Draco connection?
So you can pick several, you know, aspects of the way he looks and how he changes his form, how he looks like a goat sometimes and then he looks like a dog. So does he have any empathy? No. Does he care in a sense of compassion? No. It's all driven by entitlement and ego and demanding, and that's not going to get you anywhere. Persisting that you're this way. And so when you don't get your way, like this is the first thing they said about him, spoiled brat, then you find other ways to be creative, to manipulate the situation. And if I'm not going to have it, no one's going to have it type of attitude. And that's what I feel about him.
Mm-hmm. So is he Anunnaki and Draco or anything else like genetics? What is
Anunnaki,
he?
I would say definitely the Draco energy, but there's another one there too that has to do with the giants too. They're showing me giant bloodline. So there's 3 different types of, you have Anunnaki and then this dog process of looking that way, and then this giant gene process too. So there's 3 of them they show me.
Mm-hmm. So a concern for all of us is exposure to AI. Was Enki ever exposed to AI in nanites? And if so, does he still now have AI? And if so, what kind of AI system or nanites in his body?
Well, all he had to do was make a deal with something which is the same parasitic energy he has. So that's easy. Reptilians and grays and all that stuff. That was an easy trade out. So they trading abilities and mixing it together. So I believe that, yeah. And you can see that to this day that it's being implemented or used, because he would follow anybody finding a way to decide to manipulate that soul. What is their weakness that he would be able to come into, and then making them feel better in that area, and then stepping in to manipulate and move that directed actually towards what his accomplishment would be.
Yeah, so at the present time, he was exposed to AI at some point and now has an AI system and nanites in the body.
Yeah, I believe it's there.
And what does that do to him, and how does that influence other humans who come energetically into his presence, who actually fall for this glamour?
So I want to explain this in the way that they say. You know, when you start creating things and you start putting little pieces of this and that together, and then at the end of this, you go, God, this is a mess. Now, you know what I'm saying? So I just think, say just departments that did not work and putting components together that did not work, and now it's all glued to him and it's a part of him, and now you don't know what you're getting anymore. You're just getting second grade crud, you know what I mean? So that's why they keep saying parasite.
Yeah, his energy source, soul frequency, is not original Grail DNA blueprint anymore. He's disconnected from the Grail blueprint.
Right. So it's just so let me explain this into a human sense. If be a lower frequency energy coming in, it would reside on the left side of the shoulder, the mind, and come in very heavy, you know, and then sometimes there would be a stent to that too, that's God, how can I explain it? Mold smell I get. So you got to pay attention to those. Because I tell everybody on any situation, tell us stay out of the left brain on that process when you're trying to identify something, because it's going to grasp to something that they can use from your past or damage.
Mm-hmm. So he has a lot of components, nanite AI system that doesn't fit energetically with an organic body. It's confused, and the energy goes in and out.
Right. So if you see, it's like seeing flashes of 3D to 4D, and it's trying to have the strength to come in, and it can't. When you come back out, it looks like a different form. So yeah, it changes. Just like a parasite, when it loses the strength. It can't move, work off something anymore. And then you start to see the real identity of it, because it doesn't have the energy it used to have. And so then it's desperate for it.
Yeah, what I got when I was doing the intuitive channeling with Source Creator, originally he had a very clean organic body, but when he traded it up for this nanite AI system, it corrupts the pure energy of the body, and it tries to like take over the organic body. So it's no longer, in a sense, organic completely.
See, and the whole thing about this, he's not going to benefit from anything. This is a dead end wall for him, like it has been in the past. He's not going to get any fruits out of the situation. It's just going to make it worse.
Yeah, that's what I sensed as well. So the golden nebula or golden photon belt that we entered in 2012 is activating our dormant DNA on its own. We humans are powerful angelic souls, and within our bodies, we can activate our own DNA. So why do we need Enki to give us the original Grail frequencies and DNA upgrades?
I don't believe that, because everything that we need has always been residing inside of us. It's all about learning that you're capable of doing it. It's just like we have our own identity, the way we can open up something in our body. We are in control of that vessel. And fear is the number one thing that can stop the healing. So I would not give him the recognition on that.
Yeah, he cannot give us the original Grail DNA blueprint back. He can't give it to that. Give it back to us? Is that true?
No, he doesn't have the means.
Okay. Does he hold?
They're saying parasite, parasite, parasite.
Yeah. And does he hold the original Grail DNA blueprint within him at this time?
No.
Did he ever hold it?
At one time, when he thought it was used to his advantage, it would be leverage. But I feel that it was taken away from him for good reason and put in a safe place.
Mm-hmm. Why is Enki coming forward at this time? Did Enki offer to give us the original Grail DNA blueprint with no ulterior motive and by his own volition, or was he asked to do so by any organization or anyone or anything, including AI?
Anything that tells you that he's stepping forward and giving you something. We're at a point that he can't enslave humans in any way. So he's desperate to hold on to that. So I would definitely say keep your enemies close, because I'm sure there's some point, there's got to be something out of it that he's going to get, that he feels there's another manipulation way I can get out of this situation. And that's the thing. So humans evolve, and he's no longer able to do what he's done to them. And so that makes him null and void again. And where is he going to end? Up in a dark pit somewhere by himself.
So basically, it's a false illusion, a false promise of promising to give us the Grail DNA blueprint through other people promising this.
Because he doesn't want you free in any way.
He
If
doesn't
that was so, that would from the beginning be his true intention to have, to come down here and create man to evolve. But his true intention was never that.
Mhm. Is Enki in a pure flesh human body now? Are the claims true that Enki is being controlled by an AI system in a type of cyborg symbiotic connection?
I see him in walking through, like they call walk-ins. So I believe he goes and moves a lot through, because all you have to do is have, especially they're showing me depression, working off that fast, and you can see that quickly to attract, and alcoholism. So I'm just showing you those are easy interpretation, because at those stages you're vulnerable. When you're on medication and all that stuff, there's phases that it's easy to think, is this real or not? And when you're not highly medicated, alcohol, and you're balanced, he's not going to approach you. So, but like I tell people about, having seeds from your past that they use, pain, hardship, and developing that to an advantage. So that's where you have to identify to not be stuck in a situation where even your pain is used over and over.
So, but does he have a flesh human body, and is that integrated somehow with a cyborg cybernetic connection with
No.
AI?
So they're showing me, like, if you had to keep yourself alive with the AI thing, to keep him in a vessel, not even a physical vessel, but in a vessel. So one line does not seize unless there's another line to hold on to, okay? So he can't survive on his own in that way. He has to have energy to keep him to a certain potential. And so I see a lot of they show me sparks and short circuiting and all this stuff. So before you unplug, you have to be plugged in.
So he could get a flesh body, but it's not maintained. If he has the cyborg symbiotic systems, it fails.
Right.
Okay. So he can't maintain both together.
It's just, there's levels, and even, levels of council, overcreator, creator. You got to understand that he can't even get to a certain level. It's almost like, a parasite on Earth in that way, and moving around, doing the same thing, finding whatever you can work off of, and blending in with those type of energies.
So he would need purification and to disengage from the cyborg symbiotic nanite AI system connection to have a pure human flesh body again that is not infested with this. Would that be correct?
Correct.
He would
So
need.
It's, what's funny is this human kind seems to give some energies power they don't have, and they'll turn it over, and they'll just say, yeah, you did this, and you own this. And it's just like, and you're doing, and that's the opposite what you should be doing, because that just feeds it. And I'm amazed by that, that they feed into that situation.
What are the agendas and intention that Enki has at this time towards humanity? Is it to rule us, take us over, or combinations of agendas?
I don't believe there's combinations, but at the reward of it, I see gold all around, like miles and miles of it.
So basically his intention is to get his just rewards and to rule over humanity and to manipulate and to get as much as what he can.
His value is looking at valuable things around him. And that's where he thinks his value is instated. It's not a spiritual or a soul reinstatement. It is basically, look at I have, and that physical aspect of things, and showing that, and glamorizing that, and feeding the ego in that. So he pretty much walks in that, and that's what's the priority and important.
So still connected to materialistic things instead of spiritual, non-materialistic, not connected to good energy source vibration, but more material and agendas and combinations of such and such.
Right. So, I mean, when you look at something and you want to know if it's good or bad, you have to dive into the soul and what's the true intention here? You know, and look at his past. It's not shown anything good. So all of a sudden, what they're saying recently is like he's got this good intention. Devil wears Prada. Just saying. I mean, it's only a game. You know, it'll work off your emotion. It'll work off your sympathy side of being sympathetic. But trust me, it's not sympathetic.
Is Enki's elite Anunnaki programming actually capable of considering us galactic humans as equals?
No.
Why?
No, I mean, sorry. What I'm thinking is, are you asking me if he sees his program as us as equals? Repeat that message.
Okay, is Enki's elite Anunnaki programming actually capable of considering us galactic humans as equals?
Outside of him, yes. The program, yes. As it advanced and sees that. If the component stays the same way, no, it'll repeat the same program over and over. So you kind of got two ways of looking at it, how it could go two different directions. So if the program has advanced and stepped up into upgrade, you could say, and see visually of how things are, it would adapt to that change of seeing the advancement of humans. But if not, it would stay component.
So it depends really on what happens in our evolution, if he would see
Right.
us as equals or not. It's all evolution.
Right.
Did something happen earlier to Enki in the beginning of his life or during his life that caused his trickster polarity at this current time towards galactic humans? What made him the way he is now? What happened?
Jealousy. You know, when I guess you're looking at a hierarchy and they're not giving you the attention you need, but you want to find a faster way to get that attention, but not doing it in a level way. You know, that's the thing. It's the same thing that humans do. There's a better way around it. There's a way I can advance faster. You know what I'm saying? Is it the ego? Yeah. Is it recognition? Yeah, that's true too.
Cutting corners and making forms of beings. Like corners were cut in how beings were made, and this is what he cut some corners, did things too fast, and didn't think of the ramifications of what was created. Would you say that was part of that?
Part of that, and getting his hand bitten off for doing it.
Not having permission to go quickly and proceed.
Right.
Yeah. What do the Anunnaki motherships look like? Are there genetic experimental labs on them? What Enki is controlling and part of?
So you want me to go into Enki ships?
Yes.
You know, it's so funny because I don't see these round saucer. It's just funny when I see that. I'm like, gosh, maybe 100 years ago. Shit, not now. So, you know, they almost look like when you go to a pier and you have divisions of ships, one cargo area, you know, and that has that department. And then, so I always see it with 4 or 5 piers of a ship looking on it, you know, and then underground would be things going in and out. So the loading process would be above, and I'm seeing 4 different attached areas. And then the lower area where things go in and out would be different. And then I guess you would say the energy source around it feels more of a, I don't say a full circle, but and then they're showing there's a green, like a different type of aqua green that they're showing around it. And I've always seen these too, where if you look at something up close to, you'll see it. It's not even it looks like steel. It looks like something that changes as soon as you look at it. It can move in waves and stuff like that. So it can be there and it mirrors in with the environment. So definitely just like the movie Predator.
And do these motherships have genetic experimental labs on them?
Yeah, because I seen them before, and this was 3 years ago when they showed me them, and I didn't realize it was them. And because they showed me pods that's why I know these things, pods. And on these pods, say like a pod had a child in it and another child flipped on the other side, okay? And they were showing me there's 25 a row on this, okay? And so they kept them dormanted in a conscience, and they were calling that more of their prime special prized items.
And what would they do with these children in these pods?
I mean, they kept them dormanted in a sleep state. They had to have traveled and brought them up there, because when I saw them, I didn't see many of these Anunnakis. I saw going down these corridors, maybe 1 to 2, but they had that feeling of high security or anything like that. So they were rest assured they were in a transformation stage of sleep.
And what's the purpose of having these kids? What did they want to do with them?
Leverage.
But what's the purpose for creating these kids? Are they genetically grown
No,
without?
they didn't create these. These came from the planet, and then the prime way of holding them and containing them and making sure. And then when you think that something might be taken away, and hiding them at a certain place. So it wasn't something that they created. It was the fact that they wanted to have it and make sure they didn't run out of it.
And what were they going to use these kids for beyond leverage? Like, what was the purpose of these kids?
The purpose was for food source.
Oh.
And I would call it interbreeding.
Okay.
Because they were prime. I mean, they're all in, they looked when I looked into these pods, I saw them, none of them looked sick or anything. So
very high energy.
Yeah, right. Because if it wasn't important to them, I would think it wouldn't be in that level, and they wouldn't care what level it was at, and they wouldn't be guarding it, and they wouldn't be protecting it the way they are.
Okay. What is currently happening on the 2 Anunnaki motherships that have experimental genetic labs, and what is Enki doing on those ships?
So you want to know if he's really there?
Yes. And what's he doing with those experimental labs and the ships?
So why you're saying, so they're saying that what, they're in the Galaxy Federation ships, or are they saying they're right off our world? Is that what that they're saying?
No, not Galactic Federation. Like, these are Enki's 2 Anunnaki motherships where the experimental genetic labs are. What's Enki doing on them? Those are Enki ships.
Yeah, okay. So they're saying, what makes humans think that he has authority over these? Just because at one time in their past of history doesn't mean it is now. Especially for the being that he has been, we don't allow garbage to float around out here. So I'm getting, those ships could be, but he is not in the command nor in control.
So he enters, he does his little experiments, he does his side hustle projects. And so he can come in on the ships and do stuff, but he is not in command of these ships.
He can't do anything. No one trusts him.
Okay. But sometimes, but how was he able to do these experimental things on these ships? Source Creator showed me that he was on the ships currently doing genetic experiments.
What I get with that is, going back to the past, there were still, I guess for him, he had his own, the trust wasn't as bad. And so it was like seeing something, not sure what's going on yet. And then later, they're like taking his power away. I mean, here they go again. They say humans giving someone credit that they didn't deserve or have power over. Why do you think he still has power? He does not have power.
Mhm.
Would never allow something like that to exist at this stage.
Okay, so what's happening with these ships now, these two motherships, the Enki ones, Anunnaki ones? Are they still in existence? Because Source Creator said present time they exist and he is able to do things on these ships that's inappropriate. He's not supposed to be there, but he sneaks in.
So, and I don't feel modern ways. So I don't feel like these are updated in a different understanding, nourished in a different understanding. So it's kind of like Star Wars, the crappy, the crappy spacecraft they drove around and it would fall apart. That's what I kind of feel like. So, and have to find your way to get things replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not, these are not to qualified standards. How that's the way I would say it.
Yeah, because they're two motherships, large motherships, gray, silver, metallic, a lot of holographic components, hiding things, cloaking things, like trying to evade, a lot of evasion, trying to evade the higher beings that can take it out. It's like cloaking these ships, hiding them, and him being there unlawfully. This is what was shown to me by Source Creator. So how accurate is that?
So they're saying he does not have access.
Okay.
Can't have it. He cannot have it. That would be sabotage to allow him to have that at this stage of things that are going on. They would only take one bad seed to ruin everything.
Okay. So he's not supposed to be there, not supposed to be doing this unlawful. They're blocking him from further doing this. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. They would never allow it, they say.
Okay.
Not at this time and process that we're at. There's no way.
So he doesn't have access to the ships that he wants.
No.
Okay. Is Enki harvesting galactic humans' DNA and reverse engineering it? And if he is, what is the purpose?
So right now, this time time that we're in, I don't think he has those facilities. I don't feel that he has the means to do that. He might have it in the mind of processing and thinking, but I'm not getting that. This is, I just feel like he's the black sheep of the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not, to open the door to allow him to, it wouldn't be good.
Then how is he getting humans going up to visit him? How is that happening? Galactic humans and collecting DNA energetically, their DNA energetically. How is that happening? What is the process?
Because acting like an alter, acting like something completely different than what you are, and showing you the attention of being something or caring about something you're not caring about. I mean, he could say just to a being that thinks like, well, he's here for humanity, he's going to help, and they think that's a good trade, but it's not. I would ask yourself, why you would want to channel him, first of all. And knowing, being guarded, think that there's going to be any good intentions coming out of it.
Yeah, some make claims that they're physically visiting him somewhere up above. So is he creating an illusion environment, simulating some kind of a spaceship, some kind of a place to meet?
Because once you allow it in, I don't care what vessel it is, allow it in, it can make illusions for you that you think you see, and you feed into that heart of the human and feed into those components of feeling compassion or anything. It's like the same thing as, feeling compassion for a murderer. You know what I'm saying? At some point, the human thinks that, oh, you're going to be a good person. And it's like, nope, I am not here to be a good person.
So it's an energetic illusion of an environment, a spaceship that he creates, that these galactic humans who are visiting that space think it's an actual spaceship somewhere in a higher dimension or in space.
I would definitely say, astral travel or whatever you want to call it, or beam me up, Scotty. They think they're in these ships, but you got to understand, you got to look. I would be looking exactly where that area would be. I'd be looking at more real things in that environment instead of just what's in front of you and showing you an illusion. Because something always with that something doesn't look right. But if you look at it clearly, and then that's the thing about dreams, or you go through it. If you acknowledge in the dream that you're awake and you're aware of what's going on, you have control of the dream. If you are following along with this play and you're just not questioning it or asking questions, you're going to get sucked into that reality.
So is he energetically stealing galactic human DNA by taking it energetically and reverse engineering it
because of free will. Free will allows you, once you allow them into this access and you allow them to do that, it's like opening a door. Once you let them open the door, they can play and do whatever they want.
Yeah, Source Creator showed me that he's not genetically taking DNA through blood samples. He is Enki's energetically siphoning galactic human DNA while these people are in that illusion, I guess, environment.
Right. Because they want it so bad. They want it to be right. And then you create that. But I tell people, sometimes when we're dreaming, we're going through dimensions of things. We all want to put it together, and sometimes it's not that way. And so I think what he does is he creates this illusion, and it's something within the core of you that you've wanted, desired, and want to be a part of. So then you give into that right away. It's all working on the desire of wanting that to be created. So he's not going to make it an environment that you don't want to be in to suck you in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he definitely will make that environment to get you tempted and to feel like he's not a bad guy.
Yeah, because his prize, his currency is DNA. Getting DNA, trading DNA, collecting DNA. This is what Source Creator showed me. He is collecting DNA for a purpose. Would you say that's true?
I would really like it when they take these bad energies and they show me how they put them in these different types of crafts, and so the soul can never be in the existence again and self-combust it. And I see it dismantling in particles, and they have to be in a self-contained area.
Yeah, cleanup. So he needs cleanup. But it's like his highest prize, his highest currency is DNA. Would you say that's true? The intent, the desire to collecting.
His desire here now would be to feel like he can build his own army.
And for that army, he needs our DNA.
He needs your trust. He needs your faith. That's what he needs.
Also energy and DNA, because this is what he
Yeah.
prizes the most, it seems.
Right.
The
That's
intent.
That's what he can manipulate quickly.
Yeah, makes sense. Is Enki infiltrating the Galactic Federation of Worlds spaceships this way through retrieving galactic human DNA signatures while they visit his ships and then using it against those spaceships?
They're saying I know, because he's not at the level of the trying to explain it. It's just not, it's powerless. So I don't, everybody wants to think he's doing something. And I just feel that, like I said, it's just, he's only getting what he can get. And it's not this abundance of energy that he's in this position to do all this.
But is that his intent, to infiltrate Galactic Federation of Worlds spaceships? Something about reverse engineering DNA and wanting to create havoc with that Galactic Federation of Worlds navigation systems because they do everything through genetic security?
Well, him and the Cabal would be no different, of the same intention.
Okay, so that's his intent. This is the desire to do that, but he can't physically do that. Would you say that is what's happening?
I would say that everybody wants to be king.
Okay.
And there's always a battle to get there, and doesn't mean you deserve to be. And I don't know if you know what the battle is going to be, but you're probably not going to win.
Yeah, so his idea intent is to harvest the DNA of the galactic humans, collect it, reverse engineer it, try to infiltrate the Galactic Federation of Worlds spaceships, bring down their DNA security, ruin it, cause chaos. That's the intent, that's the desire, but it's not the outcome that's going to happen. Would you say that's what's happening?
He took the DNA and he made it his own, with his own label and information on it, and being creative, and responding in a way of controlled humanoids, they're saying. I think that's what he would like, his label.
So he'd like to put his label of that DNA creativity on the Galactic Federation of World spaceships to control that power base.
Right.
Okay. So is the Galactic Federation of Worlds able to block this infiltration aimed at galactic humans and their spacecraft? Can they stop that?
Well, yeah. Easily. I don't think it's that hard. You have two names that are floating out there, and I would definitely add the lights onto that one that I would put that is more trustworthy. I mean, I love how people have taken a name and owned it as theirs without anything. Like, it's just my name, and you can't do that. So the real ones, they're not publicly putting this information out that are working for that society. They don't expose things in that way. So what was the question again? I went off on something else.
Yeah, so is the Galactic Federation of Worlds able to block Enki's infiltration of the reverse engineered human galactic DNA infiltrating their spaceships and protecting the galactic humans?
Of course.
And they will. So they'll not let Enki continue this work that he's doing.
No.
They'll stop this.
Correct.
Okay. At what point? But because these humans are still going up on these ships, these Enki environments, when will this stop?
Well, I think they're saying once we get to a certain energy, because its energy to be able to do that will no longer be a source to have. it'll weaken things. So it's soon, but we're not there yet. Sooner than you think, though. So, how do you explain this? It's like a ball of energy that you need to exist. And if that source of that type of fuel and is gone, you're going to be worried about surviving. You're not going to be worried about your title.
Mm. What is the Grail DNA blueprint, and why did Enki recently claim that he's bringing back the original frequencies to humans?
Because he wants credibility for something someone else put work and effort into.
Okay. And what is the Grail DNA blueprint, and who put the work into it?
Well, I can tell you what they're showing me.
Sure, yeah.
So I see gold wrapped around it and protected, like coating, like if you had layers of coating around it. It's almost like I call these, talk about these blue coil children, and you see the energy moving through them. And they're basically showing me as this thing motion and moves, having that strong capability of higher intelligence.
Mm-hmm. And who created the Grail DNA blueprint?
They say you know the answer to that.
The creators, the makers, the true ones, all of creation.
Prime. The prime would be the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. The true creation of creation that creates everything. The creators, basically, the highest creators created that, not Enki. He did not engineer it.
No.
Okay. Who has the Grail DNA blueprint right now, and when will it be given back to the humans? Is this DNA 12-stranded?
More.
Okay.
More than that. It's underestimated. So when will humans be trusted with it again is the question. And that will remain seen in the future, not at this time, because it has been seen what they do with certain things, and they make it their own, and we don't want that. It has to go to the right source for the right reason. When they are trusted in a value way, we will continue.
And who currently has the Grail DNA blueprint right now? Who has it?
So they're saying this would be an answer that you would know, that we would not answer that question.
The prime creator has it because it's for security, and it's not just going to be given to anybody who will misuse it for the wrong reasons. It's always been source creator. It's always been the highest, purest energy that holds it in trust until it's ready to be given to us.
In a place that no one needs to know.
In a place that nobody, yes, yeah. So it's not one species or one being or one creator that holds it. It is the prime creator who holds it in trust.
Yes. But not opening that door to knowing that location.
Yeah, for security purposes. It's because that Grail DNA blueprint is not to be perverted, not to be messed with, not to be changed. It has to stay the original blueprint as it was in creation, as it will always be in creation, from creation to creation.
Right. It's kind of like the Holy Grail. Good luck finding it.
And in a way, it is the pure essence of the Holy Grail connected somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the Holy Grail? Or is?
I'm not going to say the location, but they showed me in the location. We think, it's down here with us, and the thing is, there's compartments on this planet that are unknown to man, and there are symbols below that will give that location, but it's in a safe place that no one has touched.
And what is the Holy Grail?
Hoyle Grail is, they show me dialogue, information, energy, and a whole big perception of our own creation and details of information.
Mhm. And I interrupted you. You were saying something.
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay. So who is Ayala of the EA bloodline? Is she one of Enki's goddess daughters? Ayala.
I've never even heard the name.
Yes, but who is she? What are you getting from Source Creator? Who is Ayala?
Some type of energy that has been, here we go with the Enki manipulation, saying that it's was promised a certain position, that it never succeeded that position.
And was she his goddess daughter, one of his daughters?
What do you say, the word they want to say, um, malfunction DNA.
So was she a human, physical blood being at one point, or how is she connected to Enki, and what is she?
So I believe, how do you explain this to you? You know, you're starting something and you're proud of this development, and then the development doesn't go the way you want it to go.
Mhm.
So it's, I guess, your project, one of his projects.
Is she a daughter of his, something that he
I would
created?
say it. I would say it in that way. Do I see the DNA of him in that way? No.
Okay.
Do I see the
So,
loyalty in that way? Yes.
so at one point she was a flesh and blood being that he somehow created or connected to.
Yes.
And what's her purpose? Is she still alive? What is she doing now?
I feel very far away. So I'm looking at our universe and our way and how things are, and it just keeps going me farther and farther and farther away. So she might have already left this part of the universe.
And what's her purpose?
So when I feel the soul of that, at that time there was a vulnerable stage that she had. And then looking at creation, I don't know what's going on, but there's this loyalty towards, I guess, nature with her. And there's some process with that, and then maybe as I'm seeing it visually, developing that in a different way. So maybe he was all about creation of man, and maybe she was out looking at creation a different way.
And is she one of the protectors of the Grail DNA blueprint?
No.
Did she have any connection to it?
So when you say the Grail of DNA, they're showing me beings are very tall, and these are all elusive state beings, which I mean, you could think by moving energy through them as a filter, you see colors and different frequencies. But with me, they all show me these cloaks they wear, and the cloaks mean responsibility, entitlement in a different way by being respected. So they're showing me she couldn't even put her hands on top of this to even get near it. And that's how I kind of explain some of the medbed technology that feels it's off this planet. You would have to be a certain type of being to even get near the technology of it.
Would you say she played a positive role in creation, or what was her purpose?
don't feel I feel there's some confusion that she had, and then she made her own intention of what she wanted to do. So right now, observing if she was here now, I think she would be part of trying to change it to a positive way.
Okay.
in making that decision now.
Okay. So another question. Grual, Grual, points are the center signet point in each protective shield within the stargates. What does Grual mean?
I have no idea.
But what does source creator
I
signet
understand
mean?
what when they're saying. I'm like, when you're describing it, I'm like, I have no idea, but let me see what they say. That's funny. So when they show me like a circle, if you made a circle of energy and layers of energy and outer layers of energy, and then keeping a vessel within that a physical, maybe not planetarian, maybe planet, to keep it surrounded in an energy that is, how do you say that? When I'm stretching or when I'm seeing through it, it's not, you can't divide it or break it.
Is this where the word Grail came from? Because galactic human angelic DNA can activate and access the stargates, the most prized possession.
To me, as Spirit describes the Grail is the purest stone in energy. And to be near it, to be close to it, you have to be at a certain vibration. So it is pure light in a different sense, but almost having its own conscience.
Enki calls the DNA that he is offering us Grail DNA. A friend of mine asked, is the Holy Grail spoken about in texts the DNA that we carry as angelic human lineages inside us? And is what Enki offering us, is that or something else?
Well, he's just putting a new brand new label on it to make it sound good, but no. So that source of DNA is connected to source. And it's always, I think there's been many species that, if I can't conquer it, if I can't own it, then what can I do? We'll just dismantle what is in man with it. Because if you can't, if I can't contain it and have it, I definitely don't want you to have it. So I feel like this day and age, they're trying to, if they could dismantle that gene, they would definitely do it.
Yeah, and this, what? Sorry, didn't hear that.
They're afraid of it.
They're afraid
They're
of
afraid of its capability or its existence, of how far it can go and what it can create.
Okay. And in Celtic, gra means love. So could gra all mean that source creator's hidden message could potentially exist within our very own DNA and resonate vibrationally to the frequency of love all or love for all? Is this true?
Yes.
How so?
Because this is the thing about love. You have to look at, that's the ultimate energy source. And we are a creature that loves animals, when we get to that certain balance of love, because that love is an existing energy. And if you stay, everything that creator has created that has like nature, oceans, everything, if we as humans evolved and understand that everything is connected in that way and looked at it as seeing energy going each direction and having its own main source of energy, we would understand that what we're looking for here and thinking we need satisfaction, you would look for an energy and know that that's the ultimate satisfaction. Because it brings the balance. If you're in that satisfaction of that energy and that frequency, and that's all you need, you're in the balance of your existence.
And another question, how is Enki able to possess humans potentially? What is the energy frequency source of that? How is that possession possible?
Because free will, allowing it in and thinking it's something else, just like a demon.
And how is possession even possible?
I think a lot of it has to do with weakness. It has to do that we don't know our own identification, and we're looking for that. And then you want to create and be a part of something, and just like anything, you're looking for something that values you, you know, the whole value of it. And so that's the whole thing. That is why it's always about weakness or damage. It works off. It doesn't work off strength. It doesn't work off the light. You know what I mean? It does the opposite. And our universe now is turning to more light, you know, and they're going to have less food of the negative to work off of.
Mm-hmm. So we're getting more light codes. We're getting energetic DNA upgrades. This is 5D energy that is coming, and it's not about always the human body, but embodying the 5D energy that is the true frequency of existence, correct?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So how do we get depossessed if we've been energetically possessed by another entity or being that is not of the most positive intent towards us?
You know, it's not religion. It's not someone else from the outside trying to save you. It's the voice inside that is connected to source. And if you made that decision and you're in that possessiveness, that would be the only thing that would save you. But you would have to completely trust it and acknowledge it, because then that light of information would turn on, and what it hates is light and acknowledgement. So you would have to turn the soul from dark to light in the inner workings.
And realize this is not for my highest good or free will choice, and I am now trying to change this energy that has been in me, and I realize that it has literally possessed me in the wrong way, not of my highest free will and good, and it's time for a change.
Well, and you've seen that where you've had Satanists go from that way of darkness to light, and they know the difference. Even the way they communicate and talk, and with the vibration of it is different, of describing it, desiring it.
And the self-realization that somebody else has been in power of you, taking you for a ride, and it's not your true self that has been doing this, and evicting out the entity that has been attached to, realizing attachment has happened and detaching from it, and not letting it influence your soul and your free will choice in your human body, would you say?
Correct.
Is there any other information that the source creator wishes to share at this time for humanity regarding Enki or anything else in this universe or world?
You know, I think giving energy the power it doesn't have. Look at turning the page and knowing that you're in control now. Yourselves, your individual, your own energy. It doesn't need anybody else to connect with source anymore. You can do this on your own now without having to buy a big package, or, you know, just opening yourself to it and making sure you identify with that energy, but feeling that love coming through. We're at the point that all of us need to be opening up and connecting with source only for the truth.
Divine sovereignty at its purest form of you, yourself, and source connection, and not these proxies or others who seek to interfere or choose to interfere with us.
So there's a sovereignty in the way of humans look at it, and sovereignty for the way I see it. So what if soul can be completely happy and choose where you are in this universe and have that peace, and knowing that nothing will ever take that away from you, and no matter how long you're there, and no one coming in and taking that from you. That's what I would say.
And would you say that this channeling is open to commentary by others in interpreting it? If it would that be allowed? If this video was shared, can others interpret and post it as well?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, this is what it is. It's just channeled information, and it's how you view things.
Is there anything else that your source creator would like to share with us that's very important for us to hear at this time?
Well, I just repeated connecting with him, and then looking at two different views of looking at 3D a different way than you do looking at 4D, and knowing that 3D is being completely dismantled.
And what we think of 5D is, it's not these human bodies that are going into 5D, it's our energetic soul vibration that is going into 5D.
Exactly.
Not the current 3D body, but the 5D soul component.
Right. No one wants to take that.
It's the soul. It's the soul component goes to 5D and is in a light body or in another state of existence in 5D, not what is left in 3D.
Right. Because that, I mean, who would want to take it? Who would think that that would function in that? It won't function in that. You're turning into a higher being of understanding. You've outgrown that vessel. You would upgrade to a better vessel and make that decision on what that vessel is going to be, and not have the pains and the suffering that the 3D body had.
It's like this crystalline diamond body in the light body and the light essence embodiment. It is not the same 3D physical vessel anymore.
Right. It's not. It was never going to be able to be an option to take it. Yeah, I think people that say that, I think they're so obsessed with the flash and the way it looks and thinking that's the way it needs to be up there. I don't believe that they want to look like us. I'm sorry, they don't. I mean, I think humans are too much in their ego on thinking that and making aliens look like they're all human. Like, intelligent being is already accepting the way it looks and its features that it has. It's not trying to satisfy a human mindset.
We don't all look the same or act the same, nor should we be expected to.
Right.
Because that is not how all creation is made. It is different and variant and can come up as interesting things in creation, really. Would you say that can happen that way?
I would say so, yes. I would say so.
I think we did very well. We covered all the questions, plus a few more that I sort of came up intuitively as to ask. Out of,
and that's just, when I do this, I just let things happen naturally. That's the way to see it. And letting it, conversate to show it the way the image comes and relay that information over.
Yeah, and if somebody wants to channel, and if somebody, how should they do it the right way? What's the right way to channel? Well,
it's in my book. I think and I'm not saying that because I do have it to a basic understanding. And the thing is, there's these basic laws you have to work with. The thing is you got to push out outside opinion on how you're supposed to do that. I think that works with your own DNA with spirit. As you have a certain way it's going to interpret and come in, but the whole thing is getting the mind silence and to go up and feel like you are going up and not doing it here on this realm, because there's a lot of garbage that will act like it's something and it's not. So, and you just know when you're shifting into that energy and you're getting this information that you know that you did not form, or have seen, or having this connection. It's something inside of us that we know when we are connected to it.
Yeah, the purity of the information.
Yes.
The accuracy of it. And we're not deeply trans-channeling other beings where they come into our soul field. That's not what you do, correct?
Correct.
You're not allowing any other being inside you. You are with
No.
exactly. That's the type of channeling that can get us in trouble, where you let some
Right.
other entity into your soul and it's driving you and it's talking through you. That's not the channeling that you and I do.
Right.
You have the direct connection to source, creator, spirit, creator,
Boy,
prime
boy, if
creator.
I did that, I'd be a mess. I tell you what,
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
would be a mess. So,
Yeah,
sorry.
so you're not letting something else in. You are just connecting to the purest energy of source creator that's giving you
Right.
the messages
Right.
and the details. So that's not trans channeling. That's not handing over yourself to somebody else while you step aside and don't have your free will choice. You are well aware of what you're connecting to.
Correct.
And you're lucid and you're present.
Correct. But you can feel it by the interpretation of the energy and how the balance is and how strong it is. You know, something that's usually the wrong intention has a very weak signal as it comes in, it drifts back and forth. And then all of a sudden you can feel sick from it. You can feel emotion from it. There's all different things. Things that flow and the energy is just showing itself. It just tends to be smooth. And there's always a side effect with negative energy. People pay for it days after and they feel sick and nauseous and headaches. And yeah, there's a repercussion.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us that's important to you today?
No, I think Prime's got it right. It's just focusing on connecting with him and going inward by yourself and doing it and feeling satisfied by connecting with that.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Jenny.
You're welcome. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.